Hello everybody, I'm Marco Dambros, and this is a quick focus on how to debug in bifrost with a dump object. So if you watched one of my previous videos, you probably see me to use the watch point between a connection to see the status of that. So right click, add watch point. This is an anim object of mesh, so we can see all the properties of this connection here. The same things we can do here. This is a float tree, array of float tree, so you can select it, add watch point, and we can see that this array is at 8, and we can the minimum max value of this connection. So what we can do, we can use dump object. So the dump object, it's a node and allows us to print in the content of an object in a file. So we can create a custom object and print all the value that we want. Let's start before I'll see how does it works the M object, and after that we're going to see how to create an object with all the value that you want. So the dump object, it just requires a few fields. One is the file name. You just need to write the file without the txt, and the connection of the object you want to print it out. So I start to use this one, so it's already built it for us, so much easier, and we can even compare the result with the watch point. So if you do this kind of connection, nothing is going to happen. So you're not going to see the file or the file be updated. The reason is because every nodes that need to be computed in bifrost need to have an output, or bifrost is not going to trigger it. So there is a few ways to actually. One is create output and just connect it. This is a way, and now it actually works. I can show you the file on my editor. I use VS Code, but any editor is fine. So like if you see now, we have our object printed out, and the elements are pretty much the same. We're going to check these things in a few seconds. But I'm not really happy. I'm not really a fan of this way. The reason is easy, because if you were going to check our bifrost node, now we have output object, and I don't want to create an output if I don't need it. So let's remove this one. The other way is use the terminal. You probably see me use the terminal other times in my previous video when I want to show some geometries, for example, when I want to debug with print points or vector. It's the same things, and you can use these ones. So I usually connect to diagnostic, just my preferences. You can use any of that. Now we don't have any output anymore because that is overridden, replaced that, and we can see now the value. So let me clean up a little bit the layout here. There you go. So this is what we see. If you can notice, we have almost the same thing. So face component, offset, etc. We can see 7 element. It is like a default, but yeah. But for example, in 7 element, we can see there are elements here. So I want to show you. So the bracket here is empty because there are 0 element. In this case, you can see 7 element. We don't see the element, but we can see 3 dots. So it means there are some data. It just is not visualized. So if you go to the dump object, the sample size is by default 0. So just change this one or some other random value, and now you can see this value go through. But so this is it doesn't work with the object and is already created by bifrost. Of course, something that I have to mention in this particular case, if you already have an output here, you could actually replace this one, so you're not going to create an output like I said before. But to be honest, this is a situation that I don't occur too much. I do prefer to create my own dump object with the value that I want to see. So this is the reason why I mentioned about the to create like another output instead of use the same one. So how to create an object? This is actually very simple. We can do with a set property. So we use a set property before. This is set point position is based on set properties. So what set property does, accept an object as an input, add properties on it, and output another object. So for example, now we connected with an empty object, and you can see here now we have an empty list. And of course, what does it do is if we do not connect anything to it. It's just I have an empty object as default. So let's give a name of the property I want to add. So with the x vertex, and we connect the output vertex that we can see here. So let's connect it. And now you can see we have the list of our vertex with the vertex position. And actually, if you notice, for example, this one is in real time. So if I move it, this is going to change. Like I said, I don't want to create like an object with just one attribute. Will be like very annoying if I need to debug with multiple stop skills. So what you can do, you can actually change the set properties. Uh, so let's duplicate it. Sorry, let's duplicate it, connect it. For example, we can get the multiplier here. So let's connect the multiplier, give it the name move. Oh, sorry, my fault. And now we can see here our multiplier and vertex chain together, both dynamically change, etc., etc., etc. And like this, you can go crazy and add a chain how many you need and create the object that you want. Of course, this one is work with even adding an object is already in the scene, so we can even change that one if you want to. So now you can see we have all the component, and below the list we have our vertex and multiplication here, for example. And that's it. Thank you very much to watch this video. Catch up next time. Marco.